You are Locked On Bulls Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Chicago on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Bulls Postcast here on the Locked On Sports Chicago YouTube channel. My name is Joe George. You find me on Twitter at Joe George Radio. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight or tomorrow if you're listening via audio. The Bulls win 119-111 over the Miami Heat, a crucial win for the play-in seeding. They needed this one if they wanted to host a playoff game on Wednesday, April 16th. And look, they can still go higher. They could still get to the 8th seed, probably not to the 7th seed, but they still can go up in these standings with just, 2 games left to go or whatever it is left in the season. My brain's fried after this game. It's been a long day doing a Cubs postcast as well, which you can find on the Locked On Cubs YouTube channel. Josh Giddey was fantastic in this game. Kevin Huerter was really good in this game, and they needed it because Coby White, he struggled mightily. So we'll talk about all of that, the play-in implications of this game. And I saw this clip today from our Locked On NBA show, which you can find on YouTube. And the question was, of the Eastern Conference teams, which team is the most dangerous? Was very curious what it was going to sound like when I started listening to the clip. So we'll give you some insight on what they said and whether I agree or disagree with those guys. But let's talk about today's game. So the Bulls win this game 119-111. Now look, the start of this game, it's kind of a struggle for the Bulls. It's, the Heat get out to an 8-0 run to start this game right away, so they've got to lead a sizable one to start it off for the Miami Heat. And really throughout most of the first and second quarter, every single time the Bulls tried to get within 4 points, 5 points, 3 points, the Heat all of a sudden would just go back on a quick little run, and the Bulls would be back down 8 to 10 points, and it really felt like it was going to be a grind to get over that hump. But then all of a sudden, Nikola Vucevic, he hits a 3, it's a 10-0 run, it's a 48-46 lead, and that's the first time in the second quarter the Bulls have a lead in this basketball game. So it starts slow, but then they got the lead there, and yes, it was pretty tight there through the end of the first half, but really when you got to the second half, the Bulls got the lead, and they kind of did what the Heat were doing early on. Every time the Heat would get close, the Bulls would just pull back away a little bit, and they did a really good job holding their own, and they got it from a little bit of everyone in this game. Yes, Coby White struggled. He did not have a made basket in the first half. Only free throws, ended up with 4 points. So on the night, he ends up 5 for 14, 0 for 5 from 3, but he ends up with 18 points on the night because he goes 8 for 8 from the free throw line as he's attacking the paint. But we'll get right to it. There's not even a question about it. Let's get to our Locked On Player of the Game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Locked On Player of the Game tonight is easy peasy. Josh Giddey, 28 points, 16 rebounds, 11 assists. He goes 11 of 19 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, hits all 3 of his free throws. He was fantastic in this game. Josh Giddey was so good. And what stands out to me about this game is questions that I had early in the season that were very fair because he wouldn't close basketball games for the Bulls on a night like tonight when you needed him most. Every time the Bulls would let this thing get away from them and the Heat would get a bigger lead, you would hear Stacey King, Adam Mean talk about it. Josh Giddey's going to have to come back into this game, and all of a sudden you would see him start walking down the court, checking back in. So every time they needed it, Billy Donovan was just like, well, this is out of control, because we saw at times when he wasn't out there, and this has been a struggle without Lonzo and Ayo, I think specifically, and Trey Jones. All 3 of those guys being out has hurt the Bulls' backup unit because they just play out of control at times. We know that it's been the problem all season. Turnovers were a problem again in this game. It's just who the Chicago Bulls are this year. So every time they struggled, Josh Giddey would just come right back into the game, and he would start to get the Bulls back on track. So he's easily the locked-on player of the game because this is why you have him. This is why you traded for him. This is what you hoped he would be when you traded for him. Honestly, and more. This is way more than I ever thought Josh Giddey would be. And I am officially on team Josh Giddey. If you're new to the show, if you missed me say it before, I'm fine with paying him close to a $30 million a year contract. Like I don't know where he can really take you. I think it's going to depend a lot of the guys around him still, but can he be the point guard of a really good basketball team? I think he's proving the answer is yes, because they've been a good team since the trade deadline. The Bulls have been fun pretty much all year, except for like the 2 or 3 weeks leading right up to the deadline. And then they've been really good since. Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, Trey Jones have all had impactful minutes on this team. And we saw Kevin Huerter tonight, 22 points, 4 of 9 from the 3-point line, 9 of 16 from the field. Nikola Vucevic gets another double-double, his 202nd double-double as a member of the Chicago Bulls. 20 points, 11 rebounds, and Modest Buzelis, 17 points as well. So all 5 starters score 17 points or more in this victory when you get nothing from your bench. Dalen Terry scored 6 points. Patrick Williams, after scoring, 20 points for the first time in like 2 years? Something like that. It was like 2023, I think it was. December 2023, the last time Patrick Williams had scored 20 points in a game before this last one. He only has, ends up with 4 points on the night. Only took 4 shots. So after being pretty aggressive in the last game, Patrick Williams kind of non-existent. So you needed these guys. And they all really just came through. The starters played really good basketball in this game tonight. And that's the reason why you got the victory. So where do we stand now? Well, the Bulls are now currently the 9 seed in the Eastern Conference. Both teams come into this game with a 36-43 record, and the Bulls now only a half game back of the Atlanta Hawks. Their final 2 games here against the Washington Wizards in 2 days, and then they will wrap it up the final game of the season against the Philadelphia 76ers. So between now and Sunday, you play 2 of the worst teams in the NBA, 2 teams that have totally quit on their season. Washington actually plays pretty hard. I don't want to say Washington quit. Philly has quit for sure. Washington's actually got some guys that they actually play pretty tough. So that game might be a challenge on Saturday more than you want it to be. But you got to get both those wins if you want to be the 8 seed. That's very much in play right now. Now, the Atlanta Hawks, is not like their schedule is full of killers either at this point in the season. And if you're not playing a team from the Western Conference, you're probably not playing a team that's going to try mightily. But they play Brooklyn, Philadelphia, and Orlando. So they can control their own destiny if they don't want to see the Atlanta Hawks, the Orlando Magic, don't want to see the Hawks in the play-in tournament. They could push them out and push the Bulls in. So it's very much on the table that we see the Chicago Bulls play in the 7-8 matchup. And even if they lose, we'll have at least one more playing game this year. So this was a crucial win for the Bulls as they're trying to move up the play-in standings. All right, let's talk more about this game, what we saw from Modest Buzelis, more on Josh Giddey overall, and just the Bulls in this victory, and the question of how dangerous are the Bulls of the 4 play-in teams. We'll get into all that next year on the Locked On Sports Chicago YouTube channel on the Locked On Bulls Postcast. Today's show brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. And you must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate. Claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Today's show also brought to you by Betterhelp. Taking care of your mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health. But traditional therapy, in-person therapy can be expensive, often ranging from $100 to $250 per session. That's where BetterHelp comes in. With online therapy, you get quality care at a price that makes sense, saving you time and money. Therapy isn't just for life's toughest moments. It can help with everyday stress, learning how to set boundaries, or developing positive coping skills. Having access to support when you need it can make a big difference. Your well-being is worth it. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, let's see. Flash here asked, what are Josh Giddey's stats? We'll run through them quickly one more time. 28 points, 16 rebounds, and 11 assists, I'm guessing, because I was looking at the Atlanta Hawks schedule there. So I got to double check real quick for you, Flash. But Josh Giddey on the night. Yes, 28 points on the night, 11 and 19 from the field, and he ends up with 16 assists, yes, and 11 rebounds. Brandon says here in the chat, I hope we can make the 8 seed, play two chances to make the playoffs. Yeah, man, look, if you're not gonna tank, you might as well get all the way in. Like, you might, even if you lose 4 games to the Cleveland Cavaliers, you might as well make the dance if you're going to do this thing. If you're not going to tank the right way and you're going to be stubborn and you're not going to blow it up at the deadline as you should. And again, they've been better, but if you're not going to do it, don't half-ass it. Like, let's go all the way in, find a way to get as the 7 or 8 seed. I would rather much see that than see the Bulls play in only the 9 or 10 seed matchup. So to me, yes, give me at least 2 playing games, but as Brandon says, I hope we can see them be at least the 8 seed as well, because I just want to see the Bulls back in the playoffs. Give me non-playing tournament games for the first time. Yes, it's not what Bulls fans expected at the start of the season, but it is something that would be, it checks their boxes. Let's put it that way. It checks the front offices and ownership boxes. It might not check the fan boxes and stop people from, boycotting this team as some are doing, and it might not get people to rush to the television providers and demand the new television channel on every single platform, but it would be a check in the box for AK and the front office. So I was on social media today, and we do a Locked On NBA show. So you can find it on YouTube, Locked On NBA. It's our national show. There's the lead host, who's the host of Locked On Mavs. He brings on contributors from all different Locked On podcasts. And they put out a clip today. It was him and 4 other guys talking, or maybe 3 other guys, talking about who was the most dangerous teams in the Eastern Conference of the play-in teams. And as I'm watching this game for the Heat, it's against the Heat, it's kind of ringing in my ear a little bit. So you've got a Heat guy on there. He says, of course, he's taking the Heat because no one wants to play the Heat. Jimmy Butler's gone. Don't buy that anymore. The Magic guy says the Magic. Totally buy that. But the host of Locked On Pacers, and I apologize, but I can't remember who the other host was from, they both chose the Bulls. I thought that was interesting. When you think about the most dangerous team, not that anyone on that panel or anyone in the world is expecting the Chicago Bulls to go in as the 8th seed and win a playoff series, but who was the most dangerous? Who's the most likely to come out as the 7 or 8 seed? I think that is the right answer. And watching tonight's game, I think really validates the reason why the Bulls are very dangerous in the play-in tournament. They've played great basketball again since the trade deadline. Coby White, with really the exception of tonight, and yes, still ended up with 18 points, has been fantastic for the Chicago Bulls. I mean, his scoring is higher. He's more efficient most of the time. He was obviously player of the month. He's dropping 30-point games, it feels like, left and right. And then we've seen this explosion of Josh Giddey where he has become like a double-double and triple-double machine since the deadline. He's attacking the paint really well. That finger roll that was right before the Vooch 3 to put the Bulls up for the first time in the game, that was like kind of awkward. He's like going towards like the middle of the lane. He kind of rolls it up with his right hand to get that one to go in. Was a great play. He's just been fantastic. So I think that when you do think about the Bulls and then the way that Modest Buzelis is playing, you add all that in with some veterans like Vooch, I agree with what they were saying. It's that they're dangerous. They are a dangerous basketball team in terms of the play-in tournament. Like past that, probably not. Most likely not. 99% chance not. But for the play-in tournament, they're dangerous. And I really do feel like the Bulls, even if they only find a way to be as the 9-10 seed matchup, I'll be going to FanDuel, one of our sponsors, and looking at them and their odds to take down the Miami Heat in the first play-in game. And I'll be picking them against whoever it is, the Atlanta Hawks or the Atlanta Magic. I think it'll be the Hawks most likely. But I think the Bulls are going to come out of this play-in tournament, and they're going to be, at worst, the 8th seed and probably match up with the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the playoffs. So the 4 teams, I think they're playing the best basketball. The Magic are very talented. They've had a ton of injuries this year. So they're still trying to grind it out a little bit, and they can be dangerous with the guys they currently still have healthy and on their roster. But just the way the Bulls are playing, it's just the confidence is at an all-time high, and they're doing things really well. And again, I think what's important from this game that kind of proves that is with Coby White struggling so much, it's the other guys who stepped up in a big way in this game, and they filled that void when you needed it. So, and a lot of times I feel like in the Levine and DeRozan era, it hasn't really felt like that. The Bulls have never really had like that guy to kind of step in when people are struggling. And even Vooch, and I love Vooch, but Vooch is not really the guy that can take over a basketball game when the guys around him are struggling. He's a guy that produces clearly when the offense is moving through him, when he's actively involved, when it's just a point of emphasis to go to Vooch. But when those guys would struggle, he wasn't always the answer. the Bulls right now have an answer for when guys are struggling, and it's because Kevin Huerter has been a much better shooter in Chicago than he was before. In Sacramento, it looks more like what it used to look like in Atlanta. Coby White can go off at any point. Josh Giddey can, and Modest Buzelis. And what I love about Modest Buzelis in this game is 17 points, 3 for 5 from the three-point line. And the most important thing of them all is at the very end of the game there, when the Bulls need it, after Tyler Hero could have gone to the layup, taken a layup to make it a 3-point game. He rips the 3 in transition. He bricks it. And that could have been a 2-point game there if he makes it. But the Bulls respond. They get the ball back. Modest Buzelis goes right back down the court. He's in the corner. He hits the 3, and it put the Bulls up 117 to 109. So that's important. Yes, Brandon, the Hawks do have the tiebreaker over the Bulls. Question here in the chat. It's a good one. They do have the tiebreaker. So getting to getting to that top seed, you're going to need some help from the Atlanta Hawks losing a couple basketball games here as this thing wraps up. But that 3 from Modest Buzelis, that confidence that he has, the fearlessness. You don't see a lot of rookies that have that. And he really, just like a lot of the other players on the roster, since he moved into the starting role and since Levine was traded, has really developed into his role nicely. And there were stretches where it was a struggle for him, and there will be stretches where it's a struggle. And who knows how this team will react to a playoff environment, because they've obviously never really been in one outside of like Coby White and probably Kevin Huerter and Vooch, and those are like one-game play-in tournaments most of the time for these guys. So they're not like a veteran team by any means. Josh Giddey didn't play last year during the playoffs. That's why he's a Bull, is because he didn't play. They basically just sat his ass on the bench. So we'll see. I think they're going to make it out of the play-in tournament, though. We got 2 games left in the season. We will be here live after both Saturday and Sunday's game. Of course, we'll be live as well after the Bulls play-in tournament games, whether on Tuesday or Wednesday. We will be here live on this show. So thanks for watching. We will talk to you on Saturday night after the Bulls' next game. Thanks for watching again. Peace.